Hey everyone, I just wanted to say, and I guess this is kind of um, I'm trying to think of the words, warning, if you're in a relationship, and it is showing signs of any type of abuse. And when I say any type of abuse comes in many forms. And just know that this video is for educational purposes only. Sorry, my cat's messing with the camera. But just know that you need to get out of that situation ASAP. No ifs and buts about it. You just need to get out and go. Mama, stop. Stop, Noni. I was involved in 2 severe cases last year, beginning of last year. One of them had been a friend, someone I know, had known for 22 years. I literally helped take care of his mom when she was sick and dying from cancer. Hi, baby. Back up. And we had tried, back in, I think it was 2007, to have a relationship, but it didn't work. His anger, his temper was just at a magnitude that you just can't calculate. So we end up not being together, but we remained friends. It took a while because of the stuff I had went through then. It took a while for me to forgive, not forget, but forgive. And so we remained friends. In the beginning of last year, I had asked for a ride to go look at a car because I need a car severely bad to get around. And he agreed. He took me. When we got to the car lot, the car that I wanted to look at was, you could obviously tell it was damaged pretty bad. The hood, for a used car, the hood had a piece missing. It wouldn't even shut down properly. There was a big gap in it and stuff. So I was like, this is not something I want. He got pretty furious. And I told him I wanted to leave. I wasn't going to argue with him. I wasn't going to get into that whole confrontational thing with him, because I know how he gets. So I walked all the way back to the car. It took him a minute, I guess. And he finally came to the car, and he was pretty mad. And I never understood why, because it wasn't a car he was buying, it was a car I was buying. A car that I am going to be paying on. So This car dealership was a good, I say, 30 minutes away from here. Possibly more, but give or take. And on the way back, to my home, he was pretty furious. He started getting angry about the car because I did not purchase it. And his temper just got worse and worse. And I remember asking many times to get out. I wanted to get out of the car. Yeah, I didn't want to be in that situation no more. That he would not let me out. And there was several times that when we would come to a stop, that I would try to get out. At one point in the middle of the country, and I need to tell you, that day it was hot. It was during the summer months, and I'm saying very hot. For our weather, it's very hot. I think it was almost 100 degrees, possibly over. And yes, I was dropped off in a area that hardly has no houses. It's wooded. It's at least 15 good miles from my house. I started to try to walk back towards the area that I knew to go back towards my house. And I got so hot, and my ankles started to swell, which is one of the medical conditions I have when I walk. I'm borderline diabetic, and my ankles started to swell. My anxiety had risen to the point where I was panicking and hyperventilating. I don't like being out like that. I have a hard time being out in the public by myself. It's one of the conditions I have from so much DV. So I felt like my only choice was to call the hospital, and they showed up. A cop showed up, and I spoke to the cop. And the cop had called out an ambulance because my whole face was turning red. This part from the bridge on, like this all was turning a reddish color. And it was sad because that's how bad my anxiety had risen. Needless to say, I still didn't know where my friend, or so-called friend, had went. I don't know if he was watching. I don't know. I just didn't know. So the ambulance decided to take me to their hospital, which was not anywhere near my house. It was further out. So I'm once again being rerouted to a place that's further from my house. That particular day, I had no money. I didn't have anything to drink on me. The drink that I did have was in his truck. So the ambulance took me to the hospital. They checked me out. And of course, like normal, they put a wristband on you. You go sit in the waiting room. And during the time I was in the waiting room, it was kind of like he messaged back and forth. And I had made the comment that I was scared. He asked me kind of like what was going on, and I told him that mainly just the diabetes issue. You know, my ankles were starting to swell. My heart rate was way too high. I think it was at like 130 something. That's what my pulse was. My blood pressure had risen. But they had told me that it was going to take probably a couple of hours to be seen, because there was a lot of people in there that were sick and stuff that were going through a whole lot more issues. And I just wanted to try to find a way home at that time, or at least to my hospital that's not that far from here. They told me they couldn't offer a ride, but they were going to try to find someone that could. They were calling my insurance company to try to find out if they would offer a ride from there, being that it was in a different county. They even called a caseworker. She was helping to try to find a way for me to be transported from my home, either to my home or to the other hospital. Their ambulances can't take me from that hospital to the other one, is what I was being told. So our messages continued all between him and I. And I finally told the woman I was going to go outside and try to make some more phone calls and see if I could find a ride. I was going to try my kids and stuff, even though I know they're busy and they have a very busy life, because I have 20 grandkids. So while I was standing out there waiting in the hot sun again, the social worker woman, caseworker, had come out, and she had her computer with her, and she was asking me, was I okay? She was still trying to work on getting a ride. And we were just standing there while she was still attempting to help. Once again, the guy that had drove me, he was texting back and forth, and I had told him that I just wanted to go home. That's how bad it was. I explained to him he'd done this to me many times in the past, and that I did not feel safe around him. But little did I know that things would get worse from there. He actually did come to pick me up. When I seen the truck pulling up, the woman looked at my face, and she could see like how scared I was, and she asked me, was I okay? And I told her that I was okay. I think I kind of made the decision then that for my safety and her safety, that I would just get back in And I had written on the text message and asked him, I said, whatever happens, please, I don't want to talk about it on the way home. I just want to go home. Home is like my safe place. My bedroom is like my safe place. I stay there most of the time. It always has been a safe place. From the beginning of abuse in my life, that's where I would retreat to. So my bedroom become like a sanctuary to me, a safe place. So she kept asking me, was I sure it was going to be okay? And I told her yes. I didn't think at the time he would do anything more, that it would be squashed and he would just pretty much give me the ride back home like he was supposed to. That wasn't the case. As soon as I got in, no more than 2 miles down the road, it turned into a yell fest for him, a degrading yell fest. And I remember several times asking him, could I please get out of the vehicle? I just know with him, when his temper gets that bad, when his temper hits that level, that it's time for me to exit. Because I've been in that situation before. Well, let's just say he wouldn't let me out. Each stop sign we come to, or each stoplight, I kept begging him to let me out. There were several times I tried to open the door to get out, and I have really long hair, as you see in a lot of my videos. I braid it a lot. It goes all the way almost down to my rear end, and I had it in a ponytail that day because of the heat. My hair was pretty much wet from sweating. For the next, God knows how long it takes to get to my house from there, because Lumberton Hospital is a good, if I had to guess, 30 to 45 minutes away. If you are going fast enough and down back roads, you might be able to get here a little faster. And trust me, he drives really severely fast, and it was worse that day because of his temper. But I asked between 6 to 7 times to get out, and each time I even would try to get out, he would grab the back of my ponytail and snatch me backwards. I just kept asking him to please stop, and it got into a huge yelling. And I told him I just wanted out. I was crying. I was very emotional. I just wanted out. Please let me out. He refused. And it got to a point where I'm trying to think of the safe words to say on YouTube. It did become physical at first. It was mainly him grabbing the back of my ponytail and him snatching my ponytail and literally not allowing me to get out of the vehicle. So when we got towards my home, where it was probably about walking distance of about 3 miles to my home, we came to a stoplight, and I attempted to get out once again, which was probably a big mistake. Obviously, it was a big mistake, because he grabbed the back of my hair again and snatched it and literally ripped a lot of my hair out. I was crying. I was pretty emotional, and my mind went to survival mode. At the time, I didn't know if he was taking me home or what was going on. After asking so many times to get out and not being able to, I was scared. So we made the turn onto a road, and my mind works in a mysterious way. Is I knew that there was a school coming up, school zone, and that sooner or later the kids were going to start getting out. And so I went into almost a panic mode then, because I was like, I don't want these kids to see any type of DV happening, any type of violent type situation happening. So my instinct was to, and it's almost like I could hear my dad in my ear, rest in peace, Daddy. I kept thinking if things are going to get bad, that I just need to get out. So I kept begging him to let me out. It was an easy enough walk that I probably could have made it home. I would have been in a lot of pain, but I could make it. And once again, he refused. We had come to an area where we were slowing down because cars were starting to back up because of the school thing that was coming up. And at that point in time, I started to realize that he wasn't going to take me home. Something just told me that it just wasn't right. It just didn't feel right. So once again, I tried to open the door as we were coming to a stop and get out. And he grabbed the back of my hair and literally just started punching me in the side of my face. Because my head was kind of like up against him. Like this whole side here was up against him because he had the back of my hair so tight. And my thoughts at the time as this is going on is, wow, this is happening. I didn't understand why it had gotten to that point. And I could only think in my head that if we went any further, these kids are going to see stuff like this, and I didn't want that to happen. So I thought something my dad would say. I scratched him slightly above his eye because I figured if I'm going to end up in a ditch somewhere dead, that at least he's going with me. His DNA is going with me. That was my thoughts. Sorry, I have to move. That was my thought, is that your DNA is going to be up under my nails and you're going with me. That was my way. I kept thinking my dad would say, sorry, I'm sure you don't want to see my big hand, that if I'm going to wind up in a ditch, that my best recourse of action was to go ahead and take him with me. So yes, I scratched him right above his eye, and I threw, it was like a drink, it was about that much left in the cup. I threw it at him, and the last thing I knew to do is to snatch the steering wheel, and we veered off the road, hit a little embankment. That he was on a high truck. It was kind of like a muscle truck. He had to let go of me to grab the steering wheel. I didn't know at the time, but God works in mysterious ways. Thank you, God. Is that at that exact time there was a police officer in behind us, and so the police officer turned on his lights. That was my cue to exit the vehicle. And since John had let go of me long enough to grab the steering wheel, it gave me the opportunity to get out and make a run for it, which is what I did. I didn't realize he had beat me in the face so bad that I was bleeding from my my right eye. And so the police officer went back to his car and got some tissue and told me to hold it up against my face pretty tight. And I did. He told me to sit down up under this shaded tree that was up far and that he would be right there to talk to me. He went to John and talked to him first. That was the guy's name. I didn't know if I should say his name, but that was a slip up. I guess y'all know now. But his name was John. So the cop talked to him, and then the cop come and talked to me. I told him my side. I told him everything, even the point of scratching him and throwing a drink at him. I had told him I'd asked many times to get out of the vehicle. And I was kind of disappointed because this cop kind of was looking at me like everything, like some typical males, like everything was my fault. So he sent John on his way and pretty much pretended like all that violence didn't happen. He told me he would take me home. Yeah, it was sad because John kind of looked over and smiled and laughed at the situation like it was funny because he was going to get away with it again. That's pretty much the smirk and the laugh, and that's John Petty. He said that, and this was the weirdest part, I had just been bashed upside the head, God knows how many times, bleeding from my eye, hair ripped out, because he had ripped out tons of my hair. The cop proceeded to tell me that I was not going to be arrested because John did not want to press charges. He never asked me about it. So I asked him and said that I wanted to press charges, and he was like, well, excuse me. He said, if you press charges, then I'm sure he's going to want to press charges too. And I just told him just to take me home. Just to take me home. I was in tears, crying the whole time to my house, which was only, by that time, like I said, a couple of miles, not even that. I would probably say 2 miles. He took me home. Before I made it to my door, getting out, I was already starting to feel dizzy, disoriented. I fumbled around to get the key to the door. No longer than opening my door, I passed out. I don't know how long, probably not long at all. I was able to get up and my hair is bothering me, sorry. I was able to get out of the car, excuse me, get out of the doorway, and I made it into my house where it was cooler. But I knew something was severely wrong because I was starting to feel nauseated. I was starting to feel like I was going to pass out. So I called 911 and explained to them the situation. And they said they would send an ambulance out, which the police department's not far down the street. It's probably, from me, maybe less than a mile. So the fire department showed up first. It was like a big fiasco at my apartment complex. I hated that. I hate when that happens because for some reason, I feel embarrassed. So I was kind of like sitting on a chair that's in my room in there because I don't have a lot of furniture. And I spoke to them. I told them what was going on. They checked my blood pressure. My blood pressure was extremely high. And when I say extremely high, my bottom number, I think at the time, was over 200. They looked at my injuries, and I showed them the injuries that I had, that I knew of, and they all agreed, apparently, that I needed to go to the hospital, and I needed to go to the hospital immediately. They were scared that there might be bleeding in my head, swelling, because I've had a traumatic brain head injury in the past. Because the decision I haven't made is pretty bad. And so I had been in a DV before that ended up causing my front skull area to be cracked in 3 places. So yeah, the police officer showed up, and not only did a police officer show up, but the sergeant from the police department showed up and had asked me a pile of questions, and I told him everything that was going on, and he asked me why did I not press charges, and I told him, I said, his deputy did not give me that option, pretty much. And the officer was there with him, the same officer, and I even looked straight at him, even in all my dizziness. I looked straight at him and told him, I said, he did not give me that option. I said, he told me that if I press charges, that John was going to press charges too. And I was like, me and him have done that before. It didn't turn out well. Like, he got away with it then. And so I was like, what's the use? And the sergeant sat there and talked to me and was like, he would guarantee me that he would go to jail. He would guarantee me that he wouldn't get out no time soon. He guaranteed me that if I was to go through these court proceedings, that he would make sure that he was punished this time. The sergeant said he would deal with the officer not handling the case because I had obvious severe injuries, more severe than I realized at the time. And so he asked me, could he take his camera and take pictures of my face, and he did. During the confrontation, when John was beating me in the side of my face, I don't know which part of my body, or what on the side of this side, my left side, I don't know what it hit. He does carry his phone on the side, so I figured it had to be his phone or his keys, because he tied the keys onto the side because of him being a truck driver. And but I had told them, I said, I did notice that 2 of my teeth on that side, at least 2, maybe more, were cracked. 2 of them were cracked pretty well. One had, like, I could feel the crack in it with my tongue, and the other one was pretty much almost cracked off. So they rushed me to the trauma unit, cut my clothes off. I was in the trauma unit for a while because I didn't realize how bad the head injury was. I started going in and out. My blood pressure was doing all kinds of crazy things, but losing consciousness, the whole bad everything, the bad juju, everything was going wrong. So they kept me in the hospital for a while in the trauma unit to monitor and to see what was going on. But they took pictures and everything, and they did find that 2 of my teeth over here were cracked. So days later, they arrested him and charged him. He's been in jail since I would say 2 days after the incident, or maybe 3 days after the incident. They finally arrested him because he was in a different county working when they picked him up. And they charged him with kidnapping and 6 other charges. So my journey started from there. Like, always checking to make sure that he's still in jail. They said his bond high enough that it would be hard for him to get out. And because he had broke a restraining order back when we were together twice, they gave him an even stronger bond so he wouldn't break the restraining order this time. They granted me a restraining order pretty much for life. So he cannot go around me. Even if he got out, he would have to wear a bracelet around his ankle, and I would carry a box, and it would go off if he's anywhere near me. He would have to leave the vicinity, and if not, he would have to go to jail. So anyways, today, if you watched my video from a little while back, I've been to 3 dentists about the cracked teeth, and they told me that one of the teeth that were cracked they couldn't do nothing about. I had to get into an oral surgeon. There was no way that any dentist is going to touch this tooth because it leads to your sinuses. So I definitely needed an oral surgeon. It took me from last year all the way to this year to try to get an appointment, and if you watch my previous video, I literally got put out of a car because of my opinion about Drake. So I missed my appointment with the surgeon, and that kind of sucked. I was very upset about it. I cried and cried. So anyways, the reason I tell and I try to point out to women, they need to get out of situations like that. DVs. Even if it's a friend that you used to be with, it's still a DV. You don't have to be living with that person or in a relationship with that person. If you've been in a relationship in the past in North Carolina, they still charge them with DV. But I woke up this morning and one of the teeth that was cracked finally decided it had had enough in the pressure, which was my canine tooth. And that is the tooth that cracked off. And the deer in the tummy cracked off. The backside of it started getting infected a lot. So now, due to this situation, this tooth is completely cracked off now. It's still there. But I have to go through, since it's my canine, I have to go through surgery now to get it completely removed because it's broke off all the way to the bed, and the other one he cracked is towards the back. And just recently I had one over here that cracked off. We don't know if this one was done because that's the side he was punching me on, but it busted off. So my teeth, for a person who's brushed their teeth like you're supposed to every day of my life, yeah, DV caused all that. So I thought I would tell y'all, and that is what's left of it. They had set my dental appointment out, my next one, for the oral surgeon in October. I am trying to find a doctor that takes Medicaid to get in sooner. And we can only pray and hope, because I feel like God's got me. But yeah, I thought I would tell you my story, and hopefully it will motivate one woman or many women or men to get out of a situation like that, to leave a situation like that before it gets to that point. You cannot stress it enough to them how dangerous it is and how bad it can be on you. So I just thought I would tell everybody my story. Thank y'all for listening. I guess this is what I'm going to start calling pillow talk, because I don't have nobody else to talk to. So I appreciate you guys listening and being there for me. I do appreciate that so much. Y'all have no clue. I have my 2 support animals, of course, my cats, but it's good to talk to someone else about these things. And so, yeah, that's the story, and I hope everyone stays blessed, stay safe. We've got so much radical weather and things happening in this world. Just stay safe out there. If you stay to the end, please subscribe. More to come. I'm going to start doing, I guess, more things, pillow talk. I'm going to try to keep a good outlook today, even with a broken tooth. That's why you see all this swollen here. That's my lymph nodes. That's why I sound so stopped up. It's my lymph nodes are reacting right now. That's my lymph nodes all swollen because of so much pain. But life goes on. I do have class today, because I am in culinary classes, and I have 2 classes today. So you guys, stay blessed. Have a great one. Like I said, more to come. Please subscribe, comment, share, so other people don't go through the same situation or situations like it. Hit the bell so you'll know when more videos come out. I'll take you on the journey with me of trying to get it fixed. And still have the cats, which I need to go find out what they're tearing up. I can hear stuff. And hopefully I can keep my smile, knowing that part of my teeth are now gone. And I don't have the money to fix them like that, so this is my life now. Trying to chew like that. Trying to eat like that. But I will see y'all on the next ones. Thank y'all guys for watching this. Thank y'all for listening. I love you all. Y'all have a blessed one.
This is from Thursday all the way until Tuesday. It's mind-boggling. These are the wind chills, which are your feel-like temperatures. Many areas in the central and northern plains, again, around 30 to 40 degrees below zero for feel-like temperatures. Again, improvement is coming, especially as we go into early to mid next week. We're talking about much nicer weather by Monday and Tuesday across most of the United States. And these are some of the records that are being tied or broken this morning across the Great Plains. Notice how we have record-breaking cold across most areas, again, in the Great Plains this morning. By tomorrow morning, it's not much different. We're actually going to even have some record-breaking cold down into parts of the southeast. So make sure you bundle up, stay safe outside. It is going to be a cold the next 48 hours for most of the lower 48. Now, the weather is going to be changing a ton over the next 7 to 10 days. We've already talked about how the temperatures are going to react. But let's talk more about what we're going to be talking about in terms of snow and rain. So beginning with the jet stream over the next few days, we do have a big dip in the jet stream back over on the east coast. And this is what's responsible for all that cold air moving west to east across the central plains and then eventually into the Ohio Valley as we go into tomorrow. Eventually, as we go into Saturday into Sunday, our jet stream gets very messy. There's really